Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Batman Arkham Knight New Game Plus video walkthrough. We're about to infiltrate Stag Enterprises, but first we've got to get out of this trap. So if you go up onto the roof, you'll not get shot. I say roof, I mean girder. And then you need to remotely control the Batmobile. So it does this agonizingly slow rotation here as it gets us back in control of the Batmobile. You want to take your first left, and you want to just round this corner, and then you can get into this multi-story car park that's going to lead to the roof where we can start shooting the enemies that are ambushing us. This is another one of the implementations of the Batmobile that's quite simple, but I think quite effective. And you'll notice I'm using the turret mode to round these corners quicker, and then I'm going back into drive mode. I wish the transition was a little faster because it would make this completely viable as a strategy for controlling the car, much better than you ever would in pure driving mode. But I think they've done a fantastic job either way. So shoot those people and then shoot the turrets. Once you've done that, relinquish control, get back in the hands of Batman, and we can proceed onwards. But we're going to get stopped because every 5 yards on this game, Batman pulls his fucking wrist pocket Tamagotchi out and starts chatting with people. Which the first time through is wonderful, but every time afterwards, just let us press B once and it's gone, dude. Like, if you ever played Gears of War, whenever Marcus put his hand to his ear, you could press, I think, like, back. It might have been Gears of War 2 and 3, because I don't know if you could do it in the first one. You could, certain areas you could, certain areas you couldn't, but he would literally tell Anya to shut up. It was amazing. Like, there'd be somebody trying to talk to you, shut up! That was it. You could just continue. And it was rude. And I would never say that to sweet dear Anya, but it was nice when I wanted to play the game, you know? But this is a great looking game, even when the frame rate dips, you know, even when it has those detection issues when it comes to examining certain things, which I've had 2 complete playthroughs of this game, and those detection issues were nowhere near as bad as they were today when I was playing through on hard. Like, it must be just one of those rare things how sometimes you just seem to find glitches and other times you don't. Even though I don't think it's a glitch, I just think it's one of those detection issues that every game has. But this is going to be a very big Predator section, completely stripping down this building site across from us. And it's going to introduce us to the concept of using drones for tactical warfare, which is a really nice addition. And I'm so excited to get back and play this game, but when I do, I know I've got to play the campaign, and I don't want to. I want to just do the stuff I've not seen. It's like, people think that, you know, doing stuff for YouTube is not work, and it's all fucking, you know, you get to play video games all day, what you whining about, you little bitch. Like, have you any idea how unfun games can be when you know you have to do something you don't really want to do? Like, anything. Like, have you ever been bloated or tired or just not in the mood for sex and an opportunity has arisen itself? Sometimes, the last thing in the world you want at that moment is to do it. Yet, when you are in the mood, there is almost nothing on this earth that can stop you. Like, it's such a weird thing, but it's just like that. Like, even the most amazing thing in the world, if you're not in the mood for it, is the last thing you want to do sometimes. And that's a little bit how I'm feeling, and it's nothing to do with the game, guys, and it's nothing to do with sex, even though I could do with some of that too. It's entirely to do with the bits that aren't the game. Like, I'd have no issue playing through this game twice if Batman didn't pull his fucking pocket watch up every single time I'm trying to move somewhere, if the cutscenes were all completely skippable. If I could get to the gameplay and it was only the gameplay, I wouldn't bat an eye. But the amount of times I lay on my bed bashing B, waiting for shit to finish, that's the stuff that kills you. That's the slow death. And that's the stuff that I would love to trim out on a repeat playthrough and have a completely optimized gameplay, laddened experience, which will probably only exist in a game that I make. And look at Mortal Kombat X. Mortal Kombat X has a feature where you can skip fights, and at first I thought it was the best mechanic in the world until I realised it was using a currency that was actually finite. But just the notion of in the campaign when it forces you to play as all these characters you might never have played as, and you can't do any basic combos, and the fucking computer's reading your inputs and doing juggles and juggles into X-rays and doing crazy like 40% combos on you, and you're like, really? Is this how we're playing? I can't even do a 2-hit combo and you're gonna bounce me off the ground in the air, neutral jump, fucking punch me, fireball cancel into whatever. And you're having it not fun at all, you're having zero fun, and then you just press pause, skip fight, and it skips it. Like, this is the best thing in the world. And then, of course, I ran out of tokens and I got to a fight where it's like, I don't even want to play as fucking Jackie Briggs. I don't care how good she is. I've not played her yet. I don't want to play her. See you later. And I paused it and it wasn't there. But just the idea of that, like, I think that is a great thing, to give the player the choice to do what they want to do in a game. And I can completely 100% understand not having that feature. But if you do, I will gladly, like, mouth kiss you, because I just think it's so considerate. It really is, and I've said this numerous times about Castlevania Lord of Shadow, a game that I would say is average at best, that pissed me off like no other game could. That game had the ability to skip the puzzles. You couldn't do it the first time, but every time after, whoop, you just skipped them. And it was beautiful. Now just give us that for everything. And for those people like, yeah, but people will just skip the entire game and get to the end. Then don't give them a reward. Like, it's that fucking simple. Like, if you want your fancy achievements or your fancy unlocks or something in the game, don't give them the reward. They can skip all of it. They'll see the credits run and then there'll be a little picture at the end like, fuck you, dude, you didn't get the unlimited devil trigger or whatever. Simple.
Service hatch on top of the airship. I can use the
like, you could even have it so that you go into a mode that's called rank run, like rank playthrough, where it takes all the bullshit out. But I think it all stems from the way that games are designed. They're designed from the ground up to be scripted around the narrative, around the triggers that make cutscenes happen. And as soon as you start messing with them, the game probably falls apart, and that's why it doesn't work this way and why it's probably so difficult to implement. But I think it would be fantastic if when you get to the end of this game, it brings up a menu that's a level select, because then it'd make my nightmare better. God damn you, Rocksteady! And then every single ranked encounter, be it a fight, be it a Batmobile sequence, or be it a Predator sequence, was selectable. So you could go back and straight up play any section you want again without having to play through the narrative, see the cutscenes, or do any of the bullshit. I think that would be beautiful. And then on top of that, they could actually have rank in the game. Instead of grading us and giving us experience, give us a nice big F at the end and tell us that we're shit, and that we should get better, and that we need to learn how to play. Because as much as rank running isn't for everyone, you know, if you get enough Ds, you're going to want to get a B or a C. Anything to not have the game go, or whatever noise it plays. Some kind of, you know, demasculating noise. And that's what those do. They're harsh. They're harsh grading systems, and they're harsh intentionally to make you want to improve. And not all games should have them, but this game practically has it without the grade on it. I would love to bring you a best rank run of this game. You know, it'd be my pleasure, but the closest thing you're going to get is a free flow, perfect free flow combo, bonus at the end of every fight, a no-hit bonus at the end of every fight, and something like that. Like, that's the closest you're going to get to a super, you know, supreme playthrough. And that still means you're going to have to do all the other stuff, all the cutscenes and all the puzzles and all the Batman's got his hand on his ear and there's nothing I can do, but at least I can move. It's, I don't know. I think it might be the arcade gamer in me, the person who used to put the credit into the hardcore shooting game that you got 3 credits off of 1 coin, and when you died the game was like, fuck you. It didn't care that you didn't get to the end, it didn't care you didn't see the ending, it wasn't about being an experience, it was a game, it was challenging, and it forced you to get better or die. Like, I think it's that part of me that comes out when it comes to looking at things like that. But here are some really interesting puzzles, which I think is probably the best puzzle in the game. You're going to be using this tilt mechanic to move... Oh, that was a mistake. I held A then to run, and he climbed the ladder. Yeah. Could have edited it out, but I kept it in just to show you so you could share my pain. But you're going to be moving the axis of the blimp to make these boxes slide. And I think it's such a great puzzle component. It's simple, but it's different. And I really liked it. I did. And I've done this section now 4 times. And I still like it, which I think is a testament to decent gameplay. Ooh, I wonder if you can punch there. You see that then? Looked like we could probably punch him and maybe knock him out and not have to fight him, because the game hitched a little bit. But I didn't press anything. So I'm going to beat down this dude after I shoot him with that. And I think the beatdown, does it go to 27? Let's have a look. Why did I do that? Oh, I'm trying to maximize points. There you go. So a really good way of getting high scores in the old games was to know the threshold of every beatdown, so that when you do a beatdown, instead of letting the beatdown end, although you want to do that once to make sure that you get your bonus for it, you want to do an execution at the end of it. That way you can essentially min-max the points of every enemy you kill. Like on Arkham Asylum, on the challenges, that was a very important thing, because you got a bonus for all the diversity of moves you used. So you wanted to use every gadget, every kind of takedown, and if you could, you wanted to try and get as many bonuses as possible. So you wanted to get a lot of points off the enemies, knock them down, but don't kill them, and then once you've hit them enough times to not kill them, finish them with some kind of takedown. And on that game, you wanted to pick them up and throw them off the balconies, or throw them off the edge, because if you could do it, you got an extra additional bonus, and it was a really good way of getting a higher score, on top of, you know, several other methods. So I was looking around then to see if there was any gun cabinets I could sabotage, but I don't think there are. There's a couple of environmental things here, but if this is the fight I think it is, I fight really close to them and nobody ever turns blue, because the detection on the environmental stuff needs work. Sometimes it's always on, other times it's not. And the one time you need it to be is the one time it's not, and you ruin your combo because of it. And I hate blaming games for problems. Like, I would rather blame myself. I'm completely guilty of blaming a game when a problem is myself. It happens to all of us at some point. And when I see that, that ignorance is shattered and I learn from it. But when it is the game, like, what are you meant to do? Similar with this capture issue I've had. When it's the capture device, what the fuck do I do? It didn't signify anything, it didn't tell me there was a problem. I never even got an error message, I got nothing. I just got a bunch of videos that literally looked like fucking Kaleidoscope took a shit on them. But another thing I might be neglecting a little bit here is to pick up the weapons. The weapons seem to give you really good frame advantage, and they can hit people that normally wouldn't be able to be hit. And the animations look sweet as well, so you want to do as many as you can. They've got unique executions, unique beatdown animations. It'd be nice if there were more than just standard bats and like poles and things. It'd be nice if you could pick up, you know, ridiculous stuff. That'd be great. Like, one of these guys has got a fake leg, and when you knock him down, his fake leg comes off, so you just pick that shit up and you beat him up with a prosthesis. Come on, boys! Take my leg! I don't know, just so much things, so many things, you know. I love the combat in this game, and I just want it to be at a point where there is so much to it that it's enjoyable to watch, and it's enjoyable to keep going back and playing, because I love playing the combat, but it doesn't really have that much of a scene of score runners or that much strategy, because all the high level play and all the high level strategies are all the same, and a lot of them are generally through just cheesing. You know, not getting hit, getting the perfect free flow bonus, getting the perfect night bonus for keeping your free flow and never getting hit, if that still exists. I don't know, that was on the older ones. And then just milking the moves that get the most hits to build the combos to make sure that you cash in on everything. Like, I wish there was some kind of timing reward. You know, like do you remember with Catwoman, how when you scale a building it tells you, okay, great, excellent, or, you know, you were shit, you should kill yourself, depending on how good your timing was, and it was a weird timing and I was rubbish at it. But in the combat, when you press the button, the closer you are to the impact and the noise, if there was a grading of, you know, perfect, good, bad, something like that, and depending on which one you got, depended on how many points you got for it, so that timing could separate, you know, really good players from not so good players. So it wasn't just always about, you know, making sure you use every move, making sure you don't get touched. You know, instead of making it just arbitrary, play perfectly and press every button, making it now so that it's timing based. Like, I don't know. Maybe have every animation have a different timing, like a sweet spot to them, so it's more technical, and it really separates, you know, the top echelon scorers from everybody else. I'm not sure. There's probably a that's not even a word. A really simple way of doing it that I'm not thinking of. I would just like it so that score hunting and score running was legit, rather than just, you know, here's a perfect score. I don't know, maybe a time modifier? Modifiers would help. The more modifiers you have, the better it is for people to use those modifiers to their ends. Like, I don't know. It's something I'd have to think about, guys. So once again, we're going to be using the tilt feature, and we're going to be locking crates so that we can make our progress through this maze underground. This reminds me a hell of a lot of the Wonderful 101, but the difference being there is if we went underground, we would be looking at the play tablet, which I think Platinum deserve all the grace in the world for using that creatively and making something really interesting, but by God do I wish you could skip that shit. Really do. Some of it is obnoxious as hell. Like, why is the controller an axis? Why does it respond to where you turn the controller? So half the time you're doing stupid contortionist bullshit to get the camera to go where you want it to go. It's hilariously bad. But this is Batman. As much as I love the Wonderful 101, and you should buy it. Buy it. But at this moment in time, I'm not even sure what I'm going to do with the rest of this walkthrough. I'm so tempted at this point to carry on hard, and I'm really tempted to do it live, because then I don't have to sit and do the commentary, and I can maybe save myself some time by doing it live. Because I'm at that point now where I think I will be able to do it at a level that will help you get through the game, and it'll not be a shambles. But I'm not sure. It's just so frustrating. Because it went so smooth. Like, I think I died about 4 times on the recording run, and all of them were to the Arkham Knight's rifle, because I got spotted. And like, that's one of those things where trying to get paths through that area is not that tricky, but if you try and do anything new, or you deviate, or you mistime it, he just shoots you. So it's gonna happen, and I don't feel bad about that at all. Everything else went swimmingly. Arkham Knight Tank 1 attempt. Arkham Knight Tank 2, 1 attempt. You know, everything just went really well. I did the Poison Ivy protection mission in the tank, first attempt. Like, I was on fire that day, I really was. Because I had to be. So I could get it recorded, get it commentated, and get it to you guys to help people, and hopefully have a successful project. And then while I was watching its results, I could be working on Devil May Cry 4, which I still haven't touched, and it's been out a few days now. And it's going to be even longer till I get to play it, because I'm still trying to wrap up this. And it's just frustrating, folks. I apologise that I keep dwelling on it, but it's kind of dominating my psyche at the moment. But here is another one of the skirmish rooms. This is a Predator, of course. We're going to hack this guy with the drone, and then we're going to use his drone to kill the medic. Medic is the biggest threat in this room, because he's going to... Oh, I'm not going to kill the medic. Okay. I don't recommend what I just did then, but I'm going to aggressively take out the medic, it seems. Or I'm going to fight with the controls to try and get Batman to mantle, and we're going to do a fear takedown. So, yeah, this is not the cleanest it could have been, folks, but it'll do. The great thing about these rooms is they can be handled in so many different ways. Everybody can do them their own way. I just recommend using the drone to kill the medic, because it's much, much swifter. And if you have upgraded the fear takedown, you can take down 5 people with it. Ooh, there's an enemy in this room who's detecting my detective vision. And I pressed the wrong button then to turn it off. Which I do a lot in this walkthrough, you'll notice.
Target before giving an order.
So I'm going to be using Harley Quinn's voice thrower here, which technically you don't have until later on, but it's really good. This is the most overpowered thing in the game. And I think it's worth noting, the Sonic Batarang that used to incapacitate people, but you couldn't use it for the rest of the bout, seems to be absent in this game. I haven't found it or unlocked it. The Batclaw seems to no longer pull people off ledges and instantly knock them down, so there's no super easy mode to completely clear a room by just cheekily sitting on a roof and pulling them off, which I'm sorry, but that's how Batman does it. I watched Batman Returns, he missed with that Batclaw and hit that dude with the concrete. Why can't we do that? Why do they take this away from us? I think that's the thing I miss the most. It must be an upgrade or something, because the Batclaw, I was doing it yesterday on a roof. I pulled the dude off like 5 times and he would not fly off, and I assume it's because it would kill him. I think that's what it was doing, but I haven't tried it in a room such as this to see whether or not it still works. So if you've been messing around with the Batclaw and it does work in these rooms, please let me know, because it will restore my faith. The irony is I'll probably do it tonight and learn, so that the comment will be ultimately futile, but it's nice to know you're thinking of me. But the voice synthesizer enables you to take down a bunch of enemies until their commanding officer realizes you're doing it and the game adapts. Because the game has this new mechanic where if you kill people from a certain method enough times, the Arkham Knight or Harley or whoever's controlling the people will go on the intercom and say that he's doing X, stop falling for it, and then the enemies will adjust. And when the game first mentioned it, I'm like, that is amazing! They've turned everybody into Dr. Freeze, who doesn't fall for the same thing twice. And then I played the game, and the game's nothing like that, guys. Although it might make it a little trickier to do the thing you were doing, and see that? That's another one of those detection moments. And that's me contemplating restarting because of how quickly that went bad. But I was like, fuck it. I pressed silent takedown, and Batman went into a parry stance. You saw it. You even saw the prompt on the screen. I pressed it. Nothing. And then I got shot. That's the kind of stuff that I find frustrating. Although, I could have waited and took him down from a vantage point, but I was getting impatient, so there you go.
The weapon system controls are locked behind a scanner keyed to Stagg's fingerprints. Without a clean set of his prints,
but for the most,
maybe the CCTV
it doesn't affect the game at all. Like,
scan the footage to see if Stagg's hands
it might deny a few gadgets from working, but I thought it was going to have severe penalties and make it really, really tough, and it doesn't. So if you're worried about it, don't be. It's practically the same game. The only difference being is they'll chuck a mine on a vantage point, or you can no longer order them around with a voice synthesizer, which you've already killed half of them with it anyway by the time that happens, and then the rest are so, you know, scattered around the room you can just take them out. But this is a puzzle that I like the first part of, and I abhor the second part. This part's cool because you're going through the footage and you're scanning the handprints. I think it should have been one of these prints that is a full print instead of having to arbitrarily scan all of them. And then on a repeat playthrough, if you know which one it is, you can immediately go for it and skip this sequence entirely. But the game literally wants you to do it a very specific, scripted way. And it kind of makes sense, I guess. Because that's the index finger, the next one's 2 fingers, the next one's the thumb, you know, and you get a full scan after doing all of them, but I think it would be more dynamic and more interesting if it was just one. If all of these weren't quite good enough, and then one of them was. But instead, it is what it is, and you've got to do it every time. Like, it's the complete opposite of something happening later on. Later on, we come back here, and this guy's escaped from a cage, and you have to find where he's gone by following a trail of handprints. You don't have to do it. If you know where he is, he's just there, and you go to him, and it's over in a second. And that's what I love. I love knowledge empowering the player on a second playthrough, because I think that's what games are all about. And unfortunately, that puzzle suffers from the antithesis of that design. But time to pursue Scarecrow across in the second airship, so that's what we're going to do. I do like this airship area. I think it's a pretty fun section. It'd be nice if we could have done something with the blimps. Like, I always remember the moment in The Force Unleashed where you had to pull the Star Destroyer down from the sky, and I remember it for mixed emotions. On my first playthrough on like hard, it was really fun and epic and climactic, and then I played it on, was it Sith Master? I think the hardest difficulty was. And it was absolutely grueling, brutal, soul-destroyingly bad, wickedly difficult, and at times felt like it just straight up didn't work. And it was just a massive frustration fest. But it was damn epic in both encounters. So it would have been nice if, for whatever reason, the flight mechanics on the Zeppelins after, you know, Scarecrow breaks away had somehow broken, and you had to guide it into the city without crashing it, or without hitting buildings, and then you guided it into the sea and it looked all epic and what have you, and then Batman got out at the last second. That would have been balling. Massive, you know, bellowing plumes of smoke and cinders and embers everywhere. But instead, it goes a little different. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.